All right. Welcome back to the Block Fuel podcast. We have Tyrone Ross here from 401 Financial. Avi and Jody are headed out to ETH Denver. So we'll be getting updates from them. We'll see how that goes. I mean, it seems like it's more of an institutional crowd this year going out there, not just the Web3 projects. But Tyrone, great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, my man. We've been at this a while, so it's always good to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think first it was you had me on your show back in the day. And then now the tables have switched a little, huh? So it's cool though. It's cool. I mean, but for those that don't know you, give us a little about yourself. What have you been up to?
Little about me. So I am the son of superhero parents, Carol and Tyrone Ross Sr., born and raised in New Jersey.
I no longer live there.
Yeah, no longer live there. Winter is a choice. I now live in the beautiful, beautiful county of San Diego County, La Jolla in San Diego. I have been in crypto it will be 12 years. Heard about it when I was at Merrill Lynch. So I was a wirehouse baby, went through the training program, had an RIA. I left to start an RIA after that, 2017 or so, dealing with a lot of young folks who owned a ton of crypto. And then around 2019 or so, started doing a podcast called the Human Advisor Podcast with Jason Wank. When Altruist was probably maybe 20 employees, and now to see how they've grown is amazing. Was at Eaglebrook, helped Chris King get Eaglebrook up and running.
Right.
Eaglebrook did his thing, so kudos to
you.
them.
Were there?
I was. It's the second person. Me and really? Helped him. Ryan Alfred, who's an early investor, reached out. We connected, and helped him get Eaglebrook up and running. And then started On Ramp August of 20.
Yeah.
Resigned in March of 22, and then started TurnKey Labs, which is which I'm calling now the Twilio of crypto, in May of 22, and then started 401 Financial, a registered investment advisor, state registered investment advisor here in California in September of 22. So that's what I've been up to since then.
Man, you got quite the journey. I mean,
yeah, man.
We've seen a lot, obviously you and I we did some work together when you were at On Ramp, and then we've stayed in touch. And I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, one thing I wanted to get your thoughts on FTX and Sam Bankman last night. Did you see that the tweet that went out?
I'm still trying to figure out, is that real or not? Like, is that real? Like, is he like, what is happening?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I mean, if we're doing tweets from prison, did
he got him a phone?
Somebody got him a phone, because I mean, and then there was an article or somebody posted some tweet saying like, hey, I think this was a total spoof, but somebody said like, hey, thanks for pardoning me. Like, you'd be like, first of all, if he did that, I think he would be all over the news immediately. Like even the mainstream news, not just the crypto Twitter. But no, I mean, I had to bring that up because it was crazy just to see last night. But what do you see going on? I mean, obviously right now we have a sell-off going on somewhat, if you will, if you call it that. I call it kind of a correction. But I mean, what are you seeing in the market? What are you seeing from advisors? I focus on the wealth management side. You focus on the wealth management side. What's different this time? And I know there's a lot of questions I just asked. What's different this time than the last bull run?
Let's start with the obvious. So I think the difference this time has been the ETFs, right? I think that's a big deal. I think the difference this time is the folks that are nibbling on the edges, right? I was just interviewed last week about Schwab naming a head of digital assets, which is,
I saw that.
Right. You have,
by the way, I had not known that until you said it, and I about fell over when I heard.
I did too. The craziest part about that is our legal at 401 emailed that to me, and that's how I found out. And then I posted it like 4 days before that post, and then of course everyone on X was like 5 days later talking about it. But he literally let us know, and he literally emailed me. It was like it's open season now. So, but again, Schwab, Fidelity, BlackRock, all the names that we had, said would get in are in, right? Fidelity, right? I had a little birdie DM me last night on some news that I can't say, but I'm stoked to hear about something that they have in the works. So, there's some really cool things happening.
They're gonna do staking now,
huh?
They're gonna bust out staking for advisors.
No. I can tell you it's not that, but it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. And why it's really neat is because someone that I really, really respect and love is involved. That's why I know. But that there should be an announcement here sometime next month, I believe. But so anyway, it's things like that. But as far as everything else, I mean, you had Solana, the meme coin craze, right? Cool. You had ordinals, okay, right? Like you had all these, you had DeFi summer, you had there's no new money coming in the space. First of all, we got to be honest with that. We're just sloshing money from one side to the other. There's no new money, right? And I think that's a big issue. Advisors that custody of Coinbase still can't get a statement, right? Like API connectivity still stinks. Performance reporting sucks. Like the base level stuff is still crap, right? With all the money that's invested. Again, I haven't. This is like the first like real conversation I'm having about this. I've been talking about it to some folks mainly behind the scenes working on. Yeah. Well, no, I just really haven't had a venue like this to really go in. You know what I'm saying? And our conversations are always like this. Like if you turn the camera off, we talk like this off camera. We just have to be honest, have honest conversation. No, so sure. It's just not sexy to me or exciting like it used to be. I mean, there's some things that get cool. I finally joined Farcaster. Some cool things going on there. But if you look at this price action, it's macro driven, but also I just think like it's exhausted. You can't look around. If you look at let's just say November till now, it was all this exciting Bitcoin strategic reserve, right? Then you got the Bitcoin maxis going after the XRP maxis. No, we're not going to have a crypto strategic reserve. It's Bitcoin. So it's just crypto's still at the kid table, man. And you got the parents yelling over every once in a while, like, stop playing with your food.
You bring something, and I've kept this kind of, tame, but you bring up a great point. I was talking to a lady who's been in this space a long time, probably as long as you and me yesterday. Tokenization, if I see another person talk about tokenization and how they're going to tokenize this, tokenize that, I don't think, when you talk to an advisor, when you talk to any financial person and you say, hey, I'm going to tokenize this, they're going to look at you and be like, okay, great. Like, it's kind of like, when you go buy a car, do you care who makes that radio in the car? Because I can guarantee you, it ain't Ford, it ain't GM, it ain't Toyota. Right. It's somebody else, third party. It's really a means to an end. And so it's really under the hood. Now, where people care about is the end product. And what do they get out of it? Do they get more fees in their pocket that they get to keep? Less fees going out? Better access to products for their customers? Like, I just think people got so fixated on just the tokenization part and not the real part of like, how is this really going to say, make the market better?
Yeah, I agree. I'm still warming up to the whole tokenization thing. Like I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like if everything's on chain, I can swap my Apple for Bitcoin and all that other stuff. But again, you have some reporting issues there and things that needs to be solved from a deep infrastructure layer. So yeah, I don't get it either. And some of the things you see now, I know Ondo is doing some cool things, Securitize or whatever else, but it's like we got like that has to.
I mean, I'm not knocking.
No, it's not about knocking it. But see, that's the thing. Having
it's just being realistic. Like what is going on? Like what is the where are we going? Like if I'm raising, umpteen $1 million, I mean, personally, like I would be like, all right, so we're gonna do this, and how are we gonna impact someone's life? How are we gonna make things better for advisors? Because like what I'm doing right now, I'll tell you, like working with credit unions, working with community banks, we're seeing, now people adopting crypto at that level, and especially at the credit union side. And like, so there's actual real value there. And, but I'm still struggling on this whole, like does the world need another money market fund? I mean, how many do we have? A lot.
Yeah.
So, again, I mean, I'd love to, what are you hearing from advisors? What do you like? Are they wanting to get more into this stuff? Are they wanting to, what is it that they're saying?
We're getting a lot of inbound now from advisors.
That's a good thing.
A lot of inbound. I just was handling an issue before getting on here. But it's a select group, right? Yeah. And I think, so real quick, we'll get into that. Like I've been saying for years, and this is part of one of the things I wanted to do with OnRamp was RIAs are going to become the new community banks. Similar to how you have the wirehouses, right? And they have a banking arm. You're going to have RIAs that have a banking arm as well to be able to provide those services to clients, and then be able to have like a 401 branded debit card or whatever that client uses, and be able to provide them all these real cool cash opportunities. That's going to happen. And if folks don't see that, they're missing it, because go look at the behemoth RIAs and look what they're doing. It's happening, right?
Right.
So, and I was saying this years ago. So I think that's awesome. I think it's needed. I think it's going to bring more financial services to people. It changes the business model and everything else. So the credit union route, I love.
Yeah.
But to the point about advisors, I think if you've built to wealth management, which I have been doing for years now.
Yep.
When you're on the other side of the table, you hear one thing and one thing only. It has to be demand driven.
Right.
What the wealth tech platform is telling you is we need demand from advisors. When you dig deeper, what they're telling you is it has to be client demand for this. Because when the client demands it, the advisor is going to have to get it. The client is going to have to get that from a platform, and then they make it available. Anyone 100%. That has ever built the wealth tech, that's what it is. That demand is pent up and not there. It's being held up by the compliance officers. The compliance officers aren't comfortable with the existing infrastructures for advisor to come in mass, right? I had a conversation with the compliance officer of probably now the biggest RIA in the country, right? And he was like, we got the ETFs here, but they got to sign a mountain of disclosures, but everything else, like we're in wait and see mode. Now, this is before the new administration and everything else.
Yeah.
So I think what advisors are trying to do is get really creative on ways to get in front of it. Is that the ETFs? Is that, seeing held away crypto that the client owns, which is why I'm building TurnKey? Is it, okay, do we launch some type of SMA type of product? Do we have an outsourced CIO that delivers that models? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like advisors love SMAs, they love ETFs, right? But what about the billing? What about the reporting? Right? Like, what about the able to account?
Everybody has this conception.
So real quick, right? Let's bring it home to you and I. Yeah. What was the one thing that I was kicking Prime Trust's ass about when we were trying to work together? Is the onboarding, the funding of the accounts sucked, right? That was a major issue, and it wasn't
or a little
it
out
was
for
Gemini. It was the funding. Like whoever we used, the funding was terrible. So now, the reason Jason Wank and Altruist wanted to be self-clearing, a self-clearing firm now goes, all right, you got your brokerage account here with your stocks, bonds, cash, crypto. You want to buy crypto, you should be able to take the cash from that same account and go buy whatever it is that you want to buy. We don't want to have to map to another platform to do that. I'll end on this point. I've been saying it for years. I'll say it here. Financial advisors, wealth managers, whatever you want to call them, do not want to pay $2 million for a condo and go across the street to use the bathroom. Doesn't make sense, right? We pay too much for our technology. Yeah, we pay too much for our technology to not have everything in this particular stack. So,
no, I think you're spot on that. And you know, it's interesting you mentioned about moving money around, things like that. Like one of the things they're doing over at Investify now for sure is like investing from checking and things like that, you know, directly from your checking account at your credit union. That's your investment account, which, you know, for this younger generation, I think there's a huge, that's what people want. That they don't want to have 5 different platforms. They don't want their stuff held at this custodian, that custodian. I mean, I deal with that right now. Like, you know, I have direct investments with one provider. I have a retirement account here. I have crypto account here. I have, you know, alternative assets here. You have to go get all of that once a year, and it turns into a complete cluster that you have to pull all of this together, and then your CPA is ready to like throw you out of the room. Because it's, you know, so I think there's to your point about the advisors do want simplicity, and they've never been given, in my eyes, I don't think they've ever been given simplicity. They've been said, here, use this for this, that for that. Oh, and by the way, we worked on an integration now, and now they talk, but it's only one way. So you can get
exactly. You know,
like, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, and I understand why some of the parts of the equation want the things to go one way, because they don't want assets leaving. But, you know, I mean, to that point though, like, are you seeing more people? I mean, we have the ETFs. I think of the ETFs more as a gateway drug. It's like it's like a means to, it gets you into the game. But anybody that's really in this, they might hold the ETFs in their retirement account. That's it. But if you know, the maxi folks are going to hold it outright. Are you seeing more people wanting to hold it outright, or go the ETF route?
Good question. Yeah, we had a couple clients ask, and again, we're not pro ETF, but if you know a man wants blue shoes, you sell him blue shoes, right? We're big proponents of self custody. But yeah, there's mainly folks who have large holdings and want security of not having it on chain and doing all that other stuff, like taking that away. The ETFs are a good vehicle for that. And yes, it's an easy button, right? You just hit it and it's done. And you get a lot of the things that didn't exist. And this is what I was trying to tell people for years with an ETF. It was going to solve some problems, but not all of them. And now it's exacerbating the problems that still exist. But to your point, you nailed it. Advisors, no one has been made more promises to than advisors. Oh, you promised this is integration is seamless. This integration is this, that, and it doesn't work. It's not bi-directional.
When the people say we did a soft integration or a deep integration, I'm like, cool. You only integrate like one, like you either integrate or you don't. Like,
you do? Yeah, it's just it. And then the thing is, like, if it integrates, it should just be there. I shouldn't have to SSO and do all this other stuff, and then it just be there, right? And that is the biggest issue in the space. Advisors have made a ton of promises, and it never pans out. I remember when a mentor of mine, I took the role at Orient, and he was like, he hates crypto, but he was like, all I can tell you is this: if you're gonna be promising integrations and all this other stuff, just make sure it's really integrated, because everyone says that, But if you're going to do an integration, really do a deep integration so that it actually works. The data's there, it's consistent, it doesn't break, it's real time, right? And that stuck with me, which is why I had to leave on-ramp. I'm like, I believe like we're not building what I know needs to be built. I got to go build turnkey, right? So it was, it was a difference of opinion of what I had and Eric had. Is not that either one of us was wrong. I felt strongly one way, he felt the other, right? It's worked out for all parties involved. But to your point, though, I think what needs to happen is until advisors are comfortable with a lot of the things that, where am I getting data? Where am I getting research? Is this consistent? How do I value it? How do I stay compliant? The compliance officer is not comfortable with advisors open their mouth, they giving advice. If there is some checks and balances,
even though that's their job.
Yeah, exactly. If the RIA aggregators and roll-ups aren't putting it in models, if they aren't say, here's our base model with so on and so forth, right? Like until all those things happen, we're chasing our tail. And I think that's what's happening here. So there's things
just like the thing I'll say to you, like that I've noticed, and it's shocking, is that prior to Investify and doing work there, like what I'm doing here, you never saw like first of all, like crypto was like an afterthought for wealth management. And then, secondly, what I'll say is like when the small account solutions out there for people, whether it be traditional or crypto, in a seamless environment, you don't find it. Like you literally don't find, let's just say traditional to start. Let's leave crypto to the side because it's like the stepchild that it's still there. Like, I mean, it's becoming more mainstream, but you go to any of the top 15 broker dealer, IBD custodians, I will almost guarantee you half of those don't have a small account solution.
Yeah.
Because they don't want and then they have minimums too that are just like insanely high. And, I mean, I guess am I missing something here? Like I thought people are making less money, have less to invest. So now what? Like the roads don't connect.
Well, look no further than the Robinhood TradePMR marriage. They're showing you the way. They're showing you the way. And again, people are,
one of the firms didn't somebody like say like, oh, you know what, we're just going to build our own. And then that's when they said, all right, see you later.
Who? TradePMR?
Yeah. Like, so TradePMR was going through first clearing at first. Yeah. And then I think they came out and said they wanted to build a platform. And, I think honestly for a firm like Robinhood, I think if anybody wants to watch, to look at how to really come into a market that's fully dominated and flip people upside down, from all different angles, start on the retail side, get the retail, then go to the institutional. Sound familiar? This is exactly what happened with crypto.
It's crypto.
Like, and people were like, oh, you can't do that. You have to start top down, model. Well, I think we've seen this time and time again where these startups are doing this. So
yeah, to be fair though, I agree with you. And I think that was one of the cool things that I enjoyed about crypto when I first got in, that you could you had a voice, right? You had a voice. But the problem with that though is it still sucks, right? You now that institutions want to get in and you want that connectivity, it's not there, which is why I think Coinbase buying River, right? You get a TradePMR and Robinhood. These are the things that I see, and I've been saying this for years, and I get it. It's top line stuff. Folks don't really want to understand the tea leaves. They just want to talk about them, right? And the tea leaves have always been there, right? What was that? September 22, those series of, I'll never forget it. I was a future proof. I woke up in the morning. It was like bang, 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 3 days in a row, right? And you had the BitGo announcement. Then you had the Coinbase Aladdin announcement. It was just boom, boom. And everyone was like, oh, I'm like, this is some of the biggest news in crypto ever. Now look at what happens. Now you had, Securitize and Coinbase, and then you had the USDC and Coinbase, and then Securitize acquires on-ramp, BitGo acquires Hype Zero, right? Like all these things started to converge because of the connectivity that was missing. There's still a bridge there. So to your point, what Robinhood did, right? Robinhood went, Gemini buying Bitria, formerly blockchain, right? Like you started to see all of these things happen, right? And the signs were clear as day there, right?
Yeah.
Prime Trust, and what's the name's firm that was bought by Adapar. He had an integration with you guys.
Trade Warrior. Trade Warrior.
Yeah, no, not Trade Warrior. Advisor Peak, right? Advisor Peak, right? Like these things were happening in succession, and it was like, oh, it did follow.
Right, but trying to get anybody to listen, right? It's the same old game. It's the same old game every time. This is the same movie. It's just a different, stage, and it's the same game of, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, how many times did all these firms come out and say they don't like it? It's just because if they're not they want someone else to take the risk first. Yeah. And then once you take the risk and you screw up, sure, we'll come in and clean it up. We'll look like the hero.
Yeah.
But me and you could sit here and talk for hours. We only had, 30 minutes here today. Tyrone, always great to see you, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're definitely going to have to be bringing you back more because we need some more market.
There'll be some really cool news coming in the next couple of months. So yeah, we'll have a lot to chat about, my man.
No, I love it. And we need people like yourself and in this industry that keep it real. And definitely anybody that wants to reach you, what's the best way?
Email or LinkedIn, right? You can LinkedIn, just put my name in, Tyrone Ross.
You're always active on X.
Always active on X2 at TR401, but email Tyrone at 401financial.co.
You got it. Tyrone, we'll see you. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, my friend. Always good to see you.
All right, be good.